G'day, guys. It's Pete here from Clinic Mastery. And what I want to talk through today is a marketing strategy that's working really well on Facebook and Instagram at the moment. And you may have seen people doing it already, but I want to break down what is actually involved in doing it, why I think it works, and how you can start to implement it yourself in your clinic if it fits your strategy. Now, as always, before we get further into this, please just down below, like and subscribe. It helps us to reach more people and to have a greater impact. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's jump into this one now. Meta ads. So when I say meta, Facebook and Instagram, okay, those are the two things that we're going to be marketing on here. Now, when we think about Google ads, right? So just picture this for a minute. When someone is typically how you would do it on Google Ads, you can do it this way too, but on Google Ads, typically someone's going to type something into a search bar and they're going to search for a solution to a problem. They might not even know what the solution is, but they're searching a problem, whatever it may be. We pop up and they go, oh, I want a physio, an osteo, an OT, speech here, psych, whatever it is. And they say psych near them, physio near them, etc. You pop up, and that's how that advertising works. Typically, you don't need to really run specials there because someone is actively searching for a solution to that problem. However, when we're doing this on meta ads, people aren't really going on Instagram or Facebook to find the solution to their problem. Maybe they are, but most of the time they're not. So we're trying to disrupt someone's feed. So the first thing we have to do here, we have to think about is how do we disrupt someone's feed? How do we stand out and get their attention fast, get the right people watching it, because it's important to get the right people watching it, not the wrong people. Get the right people watching it so that we can then find more of the right people. That's how Facebook's and Meta's algorithm works, based on who stops on your ad, interacts with it, clicks on it, etc., fills out the form. It's going to find more people like that, and it's going to try and understand the characteristics of why that person has stopped there. And obviously, creepily, it knows way more about you than you think. So let's share screen. I'm just going to pull up my little iPad here. There we go. And we're just going to go through the process of what this actually looks like. So to start with, we need to have an offer because on Facebook, on Instagram, like I said, people aren't actively searching for the solution to the problem. So if we don't have an offer, it's unlikely that we're going to be able to get someone to come in. Now, a lot of healthcare professionals will say, well, I don't love using offers. And the reason that I don't love using offers is it devalues the service. We only want people who are happy to pay full price, etc. And whilst I agree with that, the idea of decreasing the cost of the initial session is it's decreasing the risk. So it's if it's no good, right? A lot of the time, maybe they're just living with this and they've tried a few other things and it hasn't really worked. So they go, if I spend $59 here on an initial session, it's de-risking that. There's not a huge loss there compared to spending 190, 200 on an initial session. So I hope you can see the reason for that there. So typically we need to think about what is the offer. And one that I've seen work really well is around call it the $59 offer, right? And that's for an initial consult. And this is for someone who hasn't been into the practice before, okay? So that is typically an offer that I see that works. Now, you're going to then create an image. Let's draw the image, and please ignore my drawing skills. I failed art in year 10. But typically what I would do here is basically write attention and insert ideal client, just like so. Oh, spelling's horrible too. And I would have an image here. And this image here is going to be you doing something, someone on your team doing something, smiling faces, and that's a smile, working with a client. Okay, so it's really obvious to see what it is. We don't have to worry too much about branding here. Obviously, we want to have your brand in there, but it doesn't have to be the most beautiful on-brand thing you've ever seen. Okay, and in fact, we don't want to just have a beautiful photo because the problem with the beautiful photo is everyone stops, and if everyone stops, then Facebook doesn't know who to send this to because everyone's stopping and interacting with it. Now, over here, you might say problems, obviously in better language than this. But you basically need to say, do you have any of these problems? And you're going to say insert problem 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. If you have one of these, basically we can help. Okay. And somewhere on here, oh gosh, let's get rid of that. It's going to say what the offer is. And then you're going to have the text that goes with it too. That's going to expand on the image. But just think the first thing someone sees in any ad, right, is going to be the image. Now, if the image resonates with them and they want to learn more about it, they'll click expand, the text will expand. And then from there, what we want to do is we want to go and get them to leave their details. So this is a lead generation ad. So lead generation. So it's a lead generation ad. So what do we want them to leave in here? Now, what I always tell clients when I'm working with them is we want them to actually have to write something in here. That's important. So we don't want them to just have it auto-filled, because it will auto-fill. You can have their, so their first name, last name, mobile, and email. So have you can have to autofill all those things, but they don't have to do anything for that. So you might get a lot of junk coming through, people who accidentally click on it and submit it. So in order to not get too much junk or people accidentally submitting this coming through, what we want to do is we want to come down, and before we ask these questions, we want to ask one or two questions that aren't relating to someone's health status, because Meta won't allow you to do that. They don't want you to have that kind of information through their lead gen. It's a data privacy thing. But what you can do here is you can go, all right, well, why don't we ask, what's the best time of day to call you? So time of day. And what is the best day of the week? Awesome. And typically what I do is for time of the day, I'll give them basically, call it 8 till 12, 12 till 5, after 5. And then day of the week, I'll have it written down so they can write in it. Okay. So one of them is a multiple choice, and then the other one they have to write in. So what they have to do as they fill this out is they have to click one of these, like physically go and click this one, write in this one, and then it'll autofill their data. So I hope you can see what is happening there. It's allowing us to force people to have to actually do that, so we don't just get people accidentally clicking through, which will otherwise happen. I guarantee it. Now, once we have done this, once they fill this out, we will get their information in Lead Center. So go to Lead Center. R-E-R. I'm never sure, actually. I think it's both of them. It's going to come through the Lead Center. Now, from here, it's actually a bit of a sales call. So now we have their data. Now we're going to give them a call. Now, you can do this yourself to start with and then create the script for your admin to follow. But the key thing here is to remember that what is a sales call? Because people, when they hear sales, they think, oh, I don't like sales. It feels a bit icky. A sales call, realistically, is just giving someone a call and listening to them. This is what we do all the time in healthcare. It's listening to them. It's understanding them, and it's letting them know whether or not we can help them and how we can help them. That's all sales is. We're not trying to force people to do something that they don't want to do. You might give someone a call. They might say, I have this problem, this issue, I've tried this, etc. And you might go, look, we're actually not the best people for you, but I would go over here if I was you. Fantastic. I think that's a great outcome. At the same time, plenty of people you call, you'll have a chat to them and go, yeah, look, I completely understand where you're coming from. I can see what you've tried. What we would do is X, Y, Z, and I genuinely believe that we can help you. How does that sound? When can I book you in? It's as simple as that. So the Lead Center, you get the leads, and then call it the sales call. And remember that people really just want to be heard and understood. And a lot of the time in healthcare, people, they're not heard. They're not feeling heard. They're not feeling understood. So we need to make sure that we really listen here. And if you do that well, most people will be keen to come in, as long as you truly believe that you're able to help them. So you have this little sales call here, typically about 5 minutes. And like I said, you can script this, give it to your admin. And then from there, coming down over here, we then have our initial appointment. And what I love so much about this strategy, okay, is the way we can track this, right? The attribution is perfect. It's amazing, right? Because we know Facebook will tell us exactly how many leads. Oops, jeez, my spelling's horrible. Leads. How many leads do we get? And then how many bookings? And because we're getting the leads, we're calling them, and then we're hopefully jotting down and keeping a record of the bookings, we can see how much did we spend. So you might have spent, call it $2,000. And this would be pretty reasonable, $2,000. Now, let's say your leads are $20 each. So 100 leads at $20 each. So $20. And let's say 1 in every 3, so 33% book in. So what that means is you're paying $60 per new client. And then what you can do is also track how long these clients stay. So you might go, is our lifetime value or patient visit average similar here once they come in the door and they decide that, hey, this is great service? Is it similar to our other means of getting new clients in? And you might look at it and go, hey, if we get a Google new client, a Google new client might cost us $100 per client. And so you might go, we're actually getting new clients cheaper doing this strategy. There's a bit more friction involved, there's a bit more work involved, but just because you're putting a little bit more work in on that front end, is it worth a $40 difference in client acquisition cost? And so that's the question you have to ask yourself. And then what you want to understand is, what is the lifetime value of that client? So you might say, of a Google client, on average, they come in 10 times. Let's say your appointment fee is $100 to make it easy. So that'd be $1,000 lifetime value. And then maybe for a Facebook ads client, they come in 6 times. So the $600 LTV. And when you look at it, then both of them actually work out to be your marketing cost being 10% of your lifetime value. And so these are a few of the things you might look at to go, is it effective, or is it more effective or less effective? If they came in 7 times in this example here, and that was, instead of 600, that was 700, well, now your Facebook ads would actually be more profitable than your Google ads. So without getting too deep into the weeds of it, that is a really cool strategy that I'm seeing work a lot. It also depends on what's happening in your area, who else is running ads similar to this, or the type of ads that they're running. It does also depend on your brand and how you want to position yourself in the market. There'll be some clinics who really want to have that high brand status, and so they don't see the value in offering a discount. That's all well and good. There'll be others where they go, right, let's cast the net a little bit wider. Let's get some more people in. Let's fill up the therapists really quickly. And then on the tail end, that's where we become more profitable and more sustainable. But at the end of the day, it's all just a way that we can help to reach more people and to create a bigger impact.